so I'm gonna be honest with you. I am extremely happy that Will is finally waking up and seeing this for who she is.
Will then went on a profane tirade warning Chris not to mention his wife's name. Jada couldn't believe what she was hearing.
What is going on? Now, first of all, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. We haven't called each other husband and wife in a long time. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Keep my wife's name
out of your mouth, right? And I'm like, but now I'm really worried for Will because I don't know what's going on.
What viewers did not see at the time, while Oscar clips were being shown, was Chris Rock leaning over the stage to talk to Jada.
And Chris looks to me and he says, Jada, I met you.
For decades, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith were Hollywood's golden couple. They weren't just actors, they were a brand, a symbol of love, longevity, and partnership in an industry where relationships rarely survive. Together, they raised kids, built businesses, and cultivated an image that was admired across the globe. But as the years passed, the cracks began to show, and what was once seen as an unshakable marriage slowly transformed into one of the entertainment world's most controversial sagas. Now, rumors are swirling louder than ever that it's finally over, that Jada herself has admitted what so many have long suspected.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years.
The marriage has run its course, but the bigger question remains: how did it all unravel? Was it the scandals, the secrets, the constant public scrutiny, or something deeper? Let's take a closer look at how this so-called forever love story fell apart, piece by piece. For years, Will and Jada played the part of the perfect couple. On red carpets, in interviews, and even on social media, they projected an image of unity and strength. They weren't just husband and wife, they were partners in every sense, or at least that's how it looked from the outside. But in 2020, everything changed. That year, Jada dropped a bombshell that shattered the illusion. Sitting across from Will at her infamous Red Table Talk, she admitted to having what she called an entanglement with singer August Alsina. The internet exploded. Memes flooded timelines. Talk shows dissected every frame. And Will Smith's face, his pained, tearful expression during that conversation, was burned into pop culture history. The once envied marriage was no longer a fairy tale. It was a spectacle. And the Smiths, once untouchable, became the butt of every joke. From that point forward, things were never the same. Despite the chaos, both Will and Jada insisted they were stronger than ever. They put on brave faces, told the public they were committed to sticking it out, and doubled down on their image as an inseparable duo. But behind closed doors, it was a very different story. In his 2021 memoir, Will, the actor hinted at the struggles and infidelities that had haunted their marriage for years. He didn't spill every detail, but he cracked open the door just enough for the world to see that things weren't nearly as perfect as they seemed. Then, in 2023, Jada pushed that door, wide open with her own book. In it, she revealed the truth. Since 2016, she and Will hadn't even been living as husband and wife. They weren't sharing the same household in the way most couples do. Instead, they were essentially separated.
The PR of it all, the life partnership is not working. He has a woman that he's in love with, and she is not black. And he is now talking to lawyers. The issue, and so he is setting up to divorce.
Dear Will Smith, someone has to say it. Jada don't want you no more. You know, when she bought the farm in Maryland and she decided that that was going to be her thing, you should have left her right here in the good state of Maryland. Let me tell you why. I think Jada married Will because obviously he was like a great catch, right? It's Will Smith. He's on the precipice of being this major superstar. He accomplishes all of those things. And I think she was pressured from family and friends and outside influences. I don't think it's what Jada wanted to do. Jada is not happy with herself. I think now that she's promoting her book Worthy and she's getting more in depth about her relationship with Tupac that was platonic. But at one point he did ask her to marry him. She turned him down. So then he friend zoned her. I think that's one of the biggest regrets of her life. And so Will is paying for all of that because Jada picked her second choice. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a consolation.
Still legally bound, still presenting themselves as a unit, but emotionally and practically worlds apart. Why didn't they just divorce? According to Jada, the answer was simple. She had made a promise before walking down the aisle that she would never consider divorce. Separation? Yes. Redefining the relationship? Yes. But divorce? Absolutely not. So, instead of ending it, they chose to rebrand their marriage as a partnership. To make things even more complicated, they had tied the knot without a prenuptial agreement. That meant every business venture, every property, every financial gain was entangled. Their marriage wasn't just personal, it was financial, professional, and deeply intertwined with their public brand. Remaining a couple was good for business. But the cracks were showing, and no amount of PR spin could hide them forever. If the entanglement scandal put cracks in their marriage's foundation, the 2022 Oscars was the earthquake that shook it to its core. Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's shaved head, referencing G.I. Jane. At first, cameras caught Will laughing, but then he saw Jada's reaction, a glare that could cut glass. Moments later, Will stormed onto the stage, slapped Chris Rock across the face, and returned to his seat shouting, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth!" In an instant, Will's reputation imploded. He lost brand deals, major film projects were shelved, and he was banned from attending the Academy Awards for a decade. Social media roasted him relentlessly, and his image as Hollywood's charming, composed leading man was replaced with one of volatility and instability. And what did Jada do in the aftermath? In her book, she distanced herself from the incident entirely. She made it clear that she had nothing to do with Will's decision that night. For many, that was the final straw. Here was a man who had risked everything: his career, his reputation, his dignity, seemingly in her defense, and instead of standing by him, she let him carry the burden alone. Public sympathy for Will grew, while resentment toward Jada skyrocketed. Fans, commentators, and even celebrities began to question why Will was holding on to a marriage that seemed one-sided. The narrative took shape. Will was still fighting for the relationship, clinging to his vows and his image of family, while Jada had already emotionally checked out years earlier. Every public appearance, or lack thereof, fed that perception. They were rarely seen together unless it was at a family event, and even then, their body language spoke volumes. The warmth, the intimacy, the spark, gone. Meanwhile, Will was stepping into a new chapter. He dropped a new album, traveled overseas, and performed in London with singer India Martinez. The chemistry between them on stage was undeniable, close, intimate, electric. Photos of them together circulated online, showing India practically leaping into his arms backstage. For many, it was proof. Will had moved on. While Jada wrote books dissecting their broken bond. Will was out in the world, living like a man who had finally tasted freedom. Of course, the Oscar slap wasn't the first time Will had been humiliated in the public eye because of his marriage. Long before that, he was still reeling from the August Alsina scandal. The way Jada unveiled her entanglement, with Will sitting across from her, visibly shattered while the cameras rolled, became one of the most meme-worthy moments of the decade. For many, it was the moment Will Smith lost his dignity in the eyes of the world. He wasn't just an actor anymore, he was a symbol of public betrayal and emasculation. And through it all, Jada seemed to hold the upper hand. She dictated the narrative, while Will bore the brunt of the internet's cruelty. Every time his name was mentioned, people remembered not his box office hits, but that Red Table Talk episode, those tears, and the endless memes. That kind of humiliation leaves scars. And while Will's career took hits, projects dropped, deals canceled, the deeper damage was to his public image, his legacy as one of Hollywood's most respected stars. Despite all of this, Will's career didn't completely collapse. Slowly, he began to reemerge, performing, creating, and showing the world a lighter, freer side of himself. It was almost as if the weight of the marriage had been holding him down all along. reports began to swirl that Will himself had come to a realization. Maybe he didn't actually need the marriage anymore. Maybe, just maybe, he was happier outside of it. And honestly, looking at him now, smiling, glowing, traveling, it's hard not to believe that. For the first time in years, he looks alive again. Meanwhile, Jada's revelations only confirmed what many suspected. Their love story had been over for a long time. Now, the whispers say that Jada may finally be done too. Will's closeness with India Martinez may have been the breaking point. Imagine the irony. The woman who broadcast her entanglement to the world, possibly drawing the line when Will entertains a new connection. But this isn't just about emotions anymore. If Will and Jada do decide to divorce, it won't be clean. It'll be messy. Decades of shared assets, no prenup, and an empire built together. It could become one of Hollywood's most high-profile and contentious splits. And yet, would anyone really be surprised? For years, fans have begged Will to walk away. Social media is filled with comments like, "This man deserves peace," or "Sometimes love just isn't enough." And the truth is, they're right. Their children are grown, their brand as a couple is in shambles, and their emotional bond has long since dissolved. What's left to save? Ending it might actually be the healthiest decision for both of them. Because at this point, what they have isn't a marriage. It's an arrangement. And arrangements eventually collapse under the weight of pretense. So here we are, witnessing the unraveling of what was once seen as a perfect love story. From the entanglement, to the Oscars slap, to the tell-all books that laid bare every secret. Will and Jada's marriage has gone from aspirational to cautionary. They once represented the dream. Love, family, partnership, and longevity. Now, they represent something else entirely. The dangers of holding on to a relationship long after the love is gone. The only real question left is this. Will they finally take the last step? Will they divorce and set each other free? Or will they continue living in the limbo they've been stuck in for nearly a decade? Either way, the world is watching. And after years of drama, heartbreak, and public humiliation, maybe the real love story here is about learning when to let go.